Ladies and gentlemen, that was the FSU Charter School Chorus. All fifth graders, amazing job every year. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniels. And to all the parents for bringing them nice and early on this beautiful Sunday morning. So, I'd like to introduce to you very quickly our mayor. This is a timed event, and Pastor Pete will remind you what's going on today. But right now, please welcome the mayor of Pembroke Pines, Frank Ortiz.
Thank you, Francie. Good morning. Good morning. What a turnout. Congratulations. As Francie said, 21 years have gone by already. Amazing. Well, this city has not forgotten 1 year. 21 years we've been celebrating that tragedy in New York. And we are very pleased to do that. I just want to mention Mr. Daniels, Lisa, Dr. Levinsky, and our charter school. I just signed them up on America's Got Talent. So we're going to have it. We're going to introduce our speakers in a moment, but I want to introduce the First Lady, Barbara. Second Lady, Stacy. And an introduction that no one needs to do, but he's been with us for 21 years. Our great, great, blessed Father Toker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. It's always my honor to be a part of the program. As we prepare, I want to advise you of something that's going to happen periodically throughout the program this morning, and that is that the bell behind me will be rung at specific times to commemorate the downing of the different flights and the lives that were lost on those flights. The first at 8:46, when the first plane, Flight 11, hit the North Tower. The second at 9:03 in honor of the South Tower, Flight 175. Then again at 9:37 in honor of the Pentagon flight, Flight 77. And the last bell will be in honor of those heroes on Flight 93 who brought the plane down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. So those bells will just automatically happen. When you hear them, just remember that at that time, 21 years ago, great Americans lost their lives. I thought the wonderful song, It's a Wonderful World, how appropriate for this event. Even though tragedy struck, it's still a wonderful world because of those who make it wonderful. This commemorates the first airline striking the North Tower, Flight 11. At this time, I have the honor of leading us in the invocation. All of those who would like to join me in the invocation, I invite now to bow your heads. Eternal God, we come to this place on a day that is now sacred in the history of our country. A day where our enemies tried to demoralize us, tried to destroy us by these vicious attacks. But we stand united today. We stand solid. We can have our elementary school, charter schools sing, "It's a Wonderful World," because it still is. Because we refuse to bend the knee and to bow down to tyranny, but rise up shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, hand in hand, to keep our country great. And we thank you for your participation in all of that. So we pray today as we commemorate the lives of those who were lost on that day. We pray that you will be honored by it and that you will be in the middle of everything that is done. Bless us now in this ceremony of honor, for we pray it in your holy name. Amen. Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the combined Police and Fire Honor Guard of Pembroke Pines. Then also for the Pledge of Allegiance that will be led by our own Mayor Frank Ortis, followed by the national anthem performed by Rising Stars. Present the colors.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. A moment of silence, please, for Queen Elizabeth as well. Thank you, Pastor.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may be seated. Let's show our appreciation again for Rising Stars and for the Charter Elementary School for the amazing renditions. And also for our piper, Mr. Kenny Edwards. This time, Mayor Ortiz is going to come back and introduce the commissioners.
Thank you, Pastor. We want to introduce our commissioners. And what's it? Yeah. Let's have the Vice Mayor, Mr. Schwartz, come by.
Good morning, everyone. So, this city has many public events, but for me, this is probably the most raw emotion, where there's not really prepared remarks, because seeing a crowd like this can overwhelm a lot of us. I first want to thank our Park and Recreation Department for putting together another fantastic event, and Francie Novo for always leading us. Please give them. And Pastor Pete, you certainly are a father to many of us, and I want to thank you for your steadfast leadership, your service to our country, and your continued leadership in that community. 21 years ago today, we woke up this morning and we reflected on how we felt. Some of us had personal loss. Some of us lost friends. Some of us lost family. All of us lost countrymen. And I think that's the most difficult part of today. 21 years ago, an act of terrorism by using 9/11, the numbers that we pushed for help, was used to psychologically attempt to damage this country. And we refused to do that. They also tried to rip apart the fabric of our flag, what binds us together. It doesn't matter if you're white, brown, yellow, or red. They tried to rip the fabric of our country apart. They tried to say that Catholics and Protestants and Jews and Hindus and Muslims can't work together, cannot live together. They attempted to do that. They attempted to have elected officials act one way in public and act much differently behind closed doors. They attempted to turn our countrymen against our first responders. They tried to turn our countrymen into domestic terrorists. Certainly, if we reflect back 21 years and one day ago, we didn't have those challenges in this country, but yet today we do. So let today be a reminder that our work is not finished. The losses of our victims, the losses of our servicemen, the attack on our first responders is unacceptable in society. It's unacceptable in the world. It's unacceptable in this city. So I'm asking each and every one of you to recommit yourselves personally to make tomorrow better than yesterday. And may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner, come on up. Iris Seipel, my mind is frozen.
Do you remember who I am?
No, I don't.
Hello, I'm Iris.
All right.
Oh, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful day today, isn't it? And when we look around, we just see how much more beautiful it is by all of us being here together today. I don't think, as Vice Mayor said, that any one of us woke up today and didn't remember what our day was like 21 years ago. What were we doing? Were we just getting up, making breakfast for our family? Were we getting our kids off to school? Were we getting ourselves dressed, ready to go to work? Were we getting ready to go to the gym to work out? What we were doing that day, I think every one of us remembers exactly what we were doing and how we felt at that time. I think there was so much disbelief of this can't possibly be happening in this country, but yet, folks, guess what? It was happening. So we remember, and we must never forget, the nearly 3,000 beautiful lives that were taken from us with such cruelty. The youngest was just 3 years old. We honor the courage of those who put themselves in harm's way to save people that they didn't even know. We come together today in prayer and in gratitude. 21 years ago may seem like a very long time, but for the families who lost a piece of their heart that day, I can only imagine that it seems like just yesterday. Maybe it is the memory of a last kiss that was given to a spouse, or the last goodbye to a mother or father, a sister or a brother. I wonder how the dreams of the lives we lost might have changed the world. I am mindful that no words we offer or deeds we can do can ever truly erase the pain of their absence. The survivors and families of 9/11 are an inspiration to our entire country. Even while they are mourning, they have shown strength to continue in life. Many have started scholarships in the loved ones' names or have volunteered in their communities. They have done their best to be good neighbors and good citizens. Even in their grief, they have reminded us that together, there is nothing we Americans cannot overcome. We always ask ourselves, how do we preserve the memory of those that were lost? We are so fortunate to have beautiful art in our city that serves as a constant reminder of that horrible day. We remember when we see our men and women in uniform, Homeland Security, law enforcement, and all first responders, all who have stepped forward to serve and who have asked and who have risked and given their lives to keep us safe. We must remember the true spirit of this day by defending not only our country, but also our ideals. Hateful ideologies urge people to commit unspeakable violence. But those groups will never be able to defeat a nation as great and as strong as America. They try to terrorize, hoping we will change who we are or how we live. That is why we must continue to reaffirm our character as a nation. We are people from every corner of the world, every color, religion, or background, and we must live by the creed, out of many, we are one. We know that our diversity is not a weakness. It is actually one of our greatest strengths. Remember the following, if you would please, about September 11th, 2001. Remember the courage of Wells Crowther, 24 years old, in the South Tower, wearing a red bandana, who spent his final moments helping strangers to safety before the towers fell. Remember the resilience of the firehouse on 8th Avenue, who lost more than a dozen men, but who still go to work every day and are called the pride of Midtown. Remember daughter Peyton Wall, whose father, in his last moments on the phone from the towers, told her, "I will always be watching over you." Remember the resolve of those Navy SEALs who made sure justice was finally done. As Americans, we have lost the opportunity each and every day. As Americans, we have the opportunity each and every day to live up to the sacrifice of those heroes that we lost. We must never forget. So I leave you with these words. Remember them, please. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Seipel. Commissioner Castillo?
It's incredibly difficult to reflect back that it's been 21 years. In 2005, I wrote to my former co-workers at New York City Hall, where I worked for many years. And I asked them if they would honor the city that I now call home with a piece of history, which is inside that plastic box. There is a small piece of the South Tower, and they sent it to the city. And around it, two amazing artists created a lasting memorial. They are both here today. Bernat and also Felix Gonzalez. If you can give them a round of applause. They've done amazing work. And we thank them very, very much. I knew some of the people that died in that tower, and though the event happened in all three places that were mentioned, I knew people there. I went to school with them in both the North and the South Tower. I attended weddings of people who are no longer around. I knew their children. Went to their early, they grew up with my daughters. And it's a horrible shame. And 21 years later, we see these young people here singing, "It's a lovely day," and it is a lovely day. We want you to remember always, by our presence and by the things we leave to you, that no matter what happens in the United States, we will survive and we will move on, because America is carried inside of us. It's not a symbol. This only reminds us of what's here. And so to them I say, long live the United States, and to those who are gone, may light perpetual shine upon them. A resident of our city sent me an amazing gift for today. Pauline Stillman writes two-line poetry, which is one of the toughest things to do. And it touched my heart. And she's here today with Sophia Feliciano, who is a resident of Davie, but who lost her husband on 9/11. My thoughts are, all our thoughts go to them and all of the surviving families. Here is Pauline's poem, entitled "The Twin Towers." They stood high above New York, the city's twin towers that were man-made. Great minds built them, two towers torn down one day. Mad men who flew two planes into them took away two icons, the sky, rain's tears, where stood two giants. Thank you, Pauline, for that. Thank you all for remembering it, and for also remembering that they can attack a building, but they don't kill the United States until we decide to do that ourselves. No power can take over this nation from abroad. It can only be destroyed from within. That's not my comment, that's George Washington's comment. Please remember that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have two guests today. Representative Marie Woodson, would you like to say a couple of words? You what?
I'll be quick.
Oh, good.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for having us here. My name is Marie Woodson, and I proudly represent District 101. It's really an occasion this morning that none of us wanted to be living. But we are here because we want to remember. We want to remember those who lost their lives so tragically. We want to remember our men and women, from the police department to the fire department, all our first responders who put their lives on the line. But let's not just say we are going to remember them. We want to remember their children and their families, and we also want to make sure that we are there for them. They can crush our spirit, but they can crush our lives, but they can never crush the spirit of these United States of America. Thank you so much for being here.
Representative Bartleby.
Hi, I'm Bartleman, I'm your state representative from District 104. A lot has been said here today, but the only thing I want to say is that it has been 21 years. And if you look to this section of the room, for 21 years, men and women have been signing up to serve our country, not just as military officers, but as first responders, as police officers, as paramedics, and as firefighters. And what really struck me that day, and it was a terrible day, was that while everyone was running out, they were running in. Yeah. And I think that this country forgets how important our first responders are. Now, it's not until you have an emergency, until like when I thought someone was breaking in my house and I'm on the phone with 911, and I thank God to see that man in blue come through my door to protect me, that you realize that these men and women put their lives on the line. And so today, in order to remember this tragedy, we need to remember that there are men and women every day, no matter how big, how small, they're sacrificing their lives for us. They're putting their lives on the line for us. So can the men and women in blue and the firefighters please stand up so we can recognize you? Remember who ran in. Remember that when you're scared and you're worried about your family or you're in harm's way, remember who's going to come through that door to save you. Just remember that, because we forget that far too often. And to the military men and women, can you please stand up, who put their lives on the line for us, please? It's an honor to celebrate today with you. It's not a celebration, it's really a remembrance and a memorial. But keep these men and women in your prayers every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Unfortunately, Commissioner Good could not be here. He had a commitment in church today. So, and I also want to recognize Chief Chippenell from our police department. Did you want to say a couple of words, Chief?
This agency for 28 years, and this city has always and will always remember this day. I was holding my 9-month-old son when watching the Today Show when it happened. Yeah. And the fact that the city does this every year is a real testament to the city that you live in. And I couldn't be prouder to be the chief of your police department. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Chief. Our new fire chief, Marcelo.
Thank you, Mayor. No, just to echo some of the things that Chief Chimpino said. I'm incredibly proud to work for the city, to serve the community as your fire chief. And I also remember where I was that day. And sitting here, I can't help but think of, in 21 years, we actually have firefighters, and I'm sure you have police officers that weren't born yet and probably don't remember that day. So I think it's important for us to, at the firehouse, at the police stations, or whenever we have an opportunity, even to our children, to express to them, remind them as to what the events were, what happened, what your experiences were, so that we can continue memorializing this day and those who have served our country for many years to come. So thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Chief. Years ago, 21 years to be specific and certain, this country had a tragedy, but this city had never forgotten that. So we had two artists in our city who were remarkable. And we wanted to make a statement on the city of Pembroke Pines and if they could help us. Well, behind us, you can see part of that. And it was all done in a little garage. And I used to go every week and check it out. So we have two artists that are remarkable, and I want to recognize them today. And our first one is Benoit Menachet. Benoit, welcome here. The fall of the World Trade Center united the nation in sorrow. To honor our fallen brothers and sisters lost on 9/11, a piece of steel girder from the Twin Towers tragically reduced to rubble on September 11, 2001, was bequeathed by the city of Pembroke Pines in 2005. And the city's vision was to have a memorial created incorporating a piece of the towers brought to life by painter, sculptor, and writer Benoit Menachet. And Benoit Menachet created a sculpture in Italian marble depicting the four stages of the tragic event: pain, disbelief, grief, and patriotism for the Memorial Park. And Memorial Park is dedicated to honoring and remembering the nearly 3,000 people who lost their lives during the terrorist attacks in the Twin Towers in New York, the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania on September 11, 2001. And America's first responders, the men and women who bravely faced the terrorist attacks on that tragic day and beyond. And the city of Pembroke Pines would like to recognize Benoit Menachet for his version of the arts of Pembroke Pines, his service as chairperson of the Arts and Cultural Advisory Board, creator of the Glass Gallery and Studio 18 as it stands today art complex, and the city on the 21st anniversary pays tribute to the selfless heroes and innocent victims of September 11, 2001, and remembers and honors them all through this beautiful sculpture. Now therefore, I, Frank Sears, Mayor of the City of Pembroke Pines, on behalf of the City Commission, on this day, September 11th, I'm honored to recognize you for your contribution in making the 9/11 Memorial a strong symbol of patriotism in our city and acknowledges the importance of this day of service and remembrance.
I would like to recognize the whole city of Pembroke Pines that I cherished, love, still love, and will love for the rest of my life and after. So, the most beautiful people live here. The most creative people live here. And I have one of them next to me, Felix Gonzalez.
I thought you were talking about me.
We'll talk about you later.
I am talking about you with the baton behind us, trying to keep us straight and veer the boat to your house. Okay, so we thank you, Mayor Frank Ortiz.
Thank you.
And thank you for everyone that's here. And I'm not going to mention anybody besides myself, because I'm the most important. I will be done with be sitting on the floor.
Okay, if I can say something, I know it's really hot out here, I'm sorry. Thank you all for turning up here, and for the last 21 years we've been coming out here and honoring the memory of all those innocents that lost their lives that day. The firefighters, my brothers, and police officers who died that day. That's what we're here for. I just want to mention something about Ben Menachet, who brought me into the artwork.